All right, let's dive into a huge challenge for pretty much any modern business. How in the world do you make sense of all your multi-cloud spending? If you're using services from AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, it can feel almost impossible to get a clear picture. So let's just start with a really big question that gets right to the heart of it.
So let me ask you straight up, can you honestly, right now, put your cloud bills side by side and make a real apples-to-apples comparison? If you're hesitating a little bit, trust me, you are not alone. This is one of the biggest headaches facing technology and finance leaders today.
And the reality is, we're all pouring huge amounts of money into the public cloud now. This isn't just some small line item anymore. It's a major strategic investment. And when you're spending that kind of money, you absolutely have to have a better way to compare those costs and figure out what you're actually getting back.
So why is this so ridiculously hard? Let's break down the real challenge here and get to why that clear return on investment, that ROI, can feel so, well, out of reach. It really just boils down to two big things about cloud spending.
First off, they are just incredibly complex. I mean, each provider, AWS, Azure, GCP, they've all got their own weird naming conventions, their own billing structures, and these massive service catalogs with thousands of different options. It's kind of like trying to compare recipes that are written in 3 completely different languages.
And then, as if that wasn't enough, on top of all that complexity, the costs are super variable. They can swing wildly based on usage, demand, even the time of day, you name it. This is not some fixed, predictable bill you get every month. It's a moving target, and that makes trying to plan or analyze anything a total nightmare.
So here's the real kicker. When you mix that complexity with that variability, you hit 2 massive roadblocks. First, you can't easily classify your costs. Like, what are you actually spending your money on? And because of that, you can't produce any real actionable analytics. The data is just way too messy to tell you anything useful, like where to save money or where you should be investing more.
Okay, so that's the problem. But the good news is there is a way forward. There's a new approach that's gaining a ton of traction, one that really brings some order to all this chaos. It's a practice called FinOps, and it was pretty much designed specifically to solve this exact problem.
So what is FinOps? Well, at its core, it's all about building a bridge. It connects the world of cloud financial management, the nitty-gritty details of your cloud bill, to the much bigger picture of technology business management. And the whole goal? To finally get the clarity you need to improve that all-important ROI.
So how does FinOps actually build that bridge? Well, the secret weapon, if you will, is something called a standard taxonomy. Just think of it like creating a universal translator, a common language for all of your cloud costs, no matter which provider they're coming from.
The whole idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You just take all those different services with their different names from all your cloud providers, and you map them to one single, standardized list of categories. This one step is the foundation that makes everything else work.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. You know how Amazon calls its virtual servers EC2, but Azure calls them virtual machines? Well, with a standard taxonomy, you just map both of them to one category, compute. Same thing for storage. AWS S3 and GCP storage both just become storage. All of a sudden, you're not comparing apples and oranges anymore, you're just comparing fruit.
Okay, so you've done the work, you've created this common language. What does that actually get you? Well, it leads to some very real, very tangible business outcomes. It's a clear 3-step path that takes you from just mapping your costs all the way to maximizing the value of your entire cloud investment.
Here are the best practices, the roadmap, if you will. First, you map your services to that taxonomy, which we just talked about. Once you have that clarity, you can do the second, crucial step. You can finally align your tech investments directly to actual business outcomes. You can see what a product really costs you in the cloud. And that, of course, leads to the final step. You can intelligently optimize your spend, cutting out the waste and doubling down on what's actually working.
And when you put all of this together, you can make this fundamental shift in how your whole organization sees the cloud. It stops being this unpredictable, scary cost center, and it starts becoming what it was always supposed to be, an engine for real growth and innovation. And that brings us right back around to the ultimate goal. This whole process, this whole idea, is about creating that seamless connection between the financial nuts and bolts of the cloud and the strategic goals of the business. Because when your finance folks and your tech folks are finally speaking the same language, that's when incredible things can happen.
This quote from the source material just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of optimizing your spend isn't just about saving a few bucks. It's about maximizing what they call cloud unit economics. Basically, getting way more value for every single dollar you spend, and, maybe most importantly, freeing up resources to fuel actual, game-changing innovation.
So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. When you look at your company's cloud strategy right now, today, do you see a confusing, unpredictable cost center? Or do you see a powerful, well-understood engine that's driving your business forward? The choice, and now the tools to make it happen, are really yours.